A scene of devastation, but this was once a place of innocence and joy. Firefighters weighed down with flak jackets battle to contain the flames. At least 2 people were killed while sheltering in this school near Luhansk, but 60 more are somewhere under here. Their fate is unknown.
Я думаю, вряд ли живая воронка прямо в подвал. Просто жесть. Просто.
Russian attacks in the Donbass region of Ukraine have intensified in recent weeks as the Kremlin grapples for some form of victory.
Враховуючи те, що це була авіабомба, а не простий якийсь артилерійський снаряд, то коли був взрив, там була шалена температура. Звісно, що зараз наші працівники ДСНС будуть намагатись максимально швидко розібрати завали, але дуже маленькі шанси на те, щоб там залишився хтось живий.
Highest on Russia's priorities is the port city of Mariupol, which connects Crimea, which they've occupied since 2014, with the Donbass region. And this is what Putin's victory looks like. It's thought 90% of the city is destroyed. Today, more exhausted civilians were evacuated. It's hard to comprehend what they've been through. Trapped underground for weeks, unsure if they'd ever get out.
Ночью бомбили, ой-ой-ой, и днем, на самолет один за одним, ага, только появится, ага, ага. Весь центр, весь центр.
This is the last part of Mariupol not under Kremlin control. The Ukrainian government say all civilians have now been evacuated from the Azovstal steel plant, a place now symbolic with Ukrainian resistance. But from inside the plant, some of the trapped soldiers addressed the world's media today, saying they felt abandoned by their government.
І саме гірше в цьому всьому, що жодної спецтехніки на завод не приїхало. Ніхто із української влади, ніхто із міжнародних організацій на територію заводу не заїхав. Вони не походили по підвалах, не походили по бомбосховищах, не допомагали взнати, чи є тут ще цивільні. Можливо, тут ще залишилося, можливо, під завалами є десятки тіл загиблих.
Around 2,000 soldiers are thought to be trapped inside, some in desperate need of medical attention. Among them is 30-year-old Oleg Krysenko. His wife and mom fled to Italy at the start of the war and now feel tortured, not knowing if their conversations with him will be their last.
Да, боюсь, потому что одна из последних информаций от него была, это тема по поводу захоронения. Он мне сказал о том, что Катя, делайте, я вас прошу, делайте, что можете, потому что вы нас элементарно не сможете похоронить, потому что русские военные завезли мобильные крематории.
Ahead of Moscow's big Victory Day parade, the Russian Deputy Prime Minister released this footage of him strolling around Mariupol. The whole world will be tuning in tomorrow for any hints of what Putin might do next. And as Russians watch rehearsals in delight, as their jets fly in national pride over their capital, Ukrainians take cover in bunkers, fearful of what those planes and that national pride will do to them.
Well, our international editor Lindsay Hilsum is in Zaporizhzhia, where the last civilians evacuated from the Azovstal steel plant are due to arrive shortly. She spoke to us just before we went on air.
We're waiting for the last civilians who've been evacuated from the Azovstal steel plant to arrive here in Zaporizhzhia. What that means is that those who are left there now are the fighters who can still defend themselves, the fighters who are wounded, and the dead fighters. It was quite an extraordinary press conference given by Zoom today with these 2 officers from the Azov Brigade speaking as if this might be the last time they ever spoke to the outside world. And they sounded quite bitter, I would say. They said that the reason they were in the situation they were in was because Ukrainian politicians and military had failed to defend the southern cities. And you know, there might be something in that, because the Russians broke out of Crimea, which they control, and then they were able to take southern cities, including Kherson, Melitopol, and most of Mariupol, without that much of a fight. Only the Azov brigade, they said, fought. It was completely different from Kyiv. And now what they said was, most of us here know that we're dead men. They say they can't surrender. If they surrender, the Russians will just slaughter them. So they said, we have become a symbol for the world, a symbol of resistance. And so they spoke, knowing that in the end, they're very, very unlikely to survive. And that this evacuation of civilians, it may be the last one. They may get the doctors out, but they may not. So there they are, under shelling, waiting to die, but refusing to surrender.